Mic check.
Mic check. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Yes. Should I start the music now?
Yeah.
Yes, you can. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Host disabled participants from sharing.
Right.
I'm talking, but I'm not hearing it.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me, sir? This Pastor, can you hear me?
Pastor, we can hear you.
Okay,
I'm not sure
let me check why he's not. Let me just check.
Okay.
He should be hearing us. Governor.
Yes, sir.
Okay, can you hear me? This Pastor.
Yeah, I can hear you very well.
All right,
Can
that's
you hear me?
Oh, we can hear you. Fantastic.
Yes, we can, sir.
Okay.
All right, so we will be commencing shortly. We'll start in a minute's time. We already have a good turnout. 1 second.
I need a charger.
Okay. Pastor Obi, now you're here. Welcome. Deirdre, make sure you can see the chat box, please.
Yes, it's open.
All right. Can you check just to make sure you can see what's being posted?
Amawale, can the attendees hear us already?
Yes. They can hear you loud and clear. This Pastor.
Okay. Hi, Pastor. Good afternoon.
Yeah. So everybody is set. We can hear loud and clear. All right. So Omali kicks it off.
Yes, I. All right, evening. Today to welcome all of you. I'm sure everyone is excited. But before we start, a bit of keeping. You will notice this session is being run as a webinar. What that means is that you will only see videos of the panelists and speakers. You will not be able to see videos of other participants. Also, at the bottom of your screen, you will see a Q&A button. During the session, if you have a question, just click on that button and type in your question. We do have pre-submitted questions, which we will start with. And if we have time, we will get to questions that are submitted live. You'll also notice a chat symbol at the bottom of your screen. We ask that as much as possible, try to keep chats to a minimum so we do not distract other participants. However, if you're going to use the chat function, please let's make sure we engage politely and in respect of everyone who's here. Also, since you can hear us, but we cannot hear you, if you need to tell us anything, or if the speaker asks a question and you'd like to provide an answer or response, just please feel free to drop that in the chat box. So now we'll kick off. First and foremost, a very warm welcome to everyone here. I hope you'll hear me, okay? Very warm welcome to everyone here. Please let me know if you can hear me. Any of the panelists, can you hear me?
We all can
Yes,
hear
I
you.
can
Yes,
hear
we
you.
can hear you. We can hear
Very
you.
well, we can.
So I was welcoming everyone. We have a huge turnout, almost 300 people, and people are joining by the second. My name is Omowale Dedashiru. I sit on the board of the Covenant Community Groups, and I have oversight for the Politics 101 community group of the Covenant Nation. The Politics Community Group is one out of over 50 community groups in the Covenant Nation, which we run every semester. This is our second semester, and this semester we have over 150 members in the politics group, ranging from people who have no political experience and just want to learn and understand what it means to get involved, to some members who have dabbled in politics. Some confess they have gotten burnt and are disenfranchised. And we have another group who are actively involved and trudging on and looking for more success. The point is we have a whole spectrum of people who are interested in politics who are with us. And since the beginning of this semester, we have had interesting speakers who have come to speak to us, to coach us, and we have heard a lot of things. You know, some of our speakers have told us that politics is a game of numbers. Some have said the first rule in politics is to get involved. And the best way is to start from your local government, your ward, just basically go to the grassroots. We've also heard that apparently being called a techno
Seems to have a problem with Omowale, her connection.
Okay.
I think, Obin, I think you should just conclude what you wanted to say.
Yes. Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. So whilst we wait for Molly to come back in, she was just trying to talk about the community groups. We have different groups in the Covenant Nation community groups ranging from middle management, those in corporate in the middle management cadre of their careers, in senior management, in executive management. We even have lifestyle groups that are for people that want to learn how to cook one food or the other, people in fitness and different things. There are a lot of groups. And this particular session is lasting for, I think it's been on for the past, this session has been on for about 5 weeks and will be done in about 4 more weeks. It's just about 9 weeks. And we have about 9,000 people actively participating in different groups. Moale, you're back. I was just about introducing Pastor Porju, so I'll hand over to you to do your work.
Thank you very much. I apologize for that. Thank you for taking on the mantle. So as we've heard, the Covenant community groups, we have this semester almost 9,000 people, not just Covenant Nation members, about 40% are non-Covenant Nation members. We have from all over the Federation. We have from diaspora, UK, US, Canada, all members of this group, the groups. And so the point is, it's making an impact, not just in the body of Christ, but in the individual lives of people. And so I would want to, for now, I'm going to call on the visionaire, the convener of the Covenant community groups, our senior pastor of the Covenant Nation. And he's going to formally open this meeting, tell us a bit more about the vision of the community groups, the impact that is being held, and what to expect for that. So please join me in giving a very warm welcome to our senior pastor, Pastor Porju Oyemade. You're welcome, sir.
All right, thank you very much, Omowale. The truth about the matter is that I think the vision of the community groups has already been described between you and Obinat, and I think we'll want to have as much time, all right, to engage with His Excellency, former governor of Anambra State, Mr. Peter Obi. So I won't want to take too much time. But let me just say this about it. Every great thing that has happened on this earth has come as a result of people coming together, even if it's just 2 or 3 people, and to exchange ideas. Whether this was done consciously or this was done unconsciously, whether it was intentionally or it just happened, that's how every great thing has been born. So if we understand that that's the process, then we can now understand, knowing the law of cause and effect, can actually intentionally organize the cause in order to have the effect. So the whole essence of these community groups is an intentional thing to bring people together and to exchange ideas in order to give birth to a proper plan of action that they can each execute within their own individual lives. All right, so I just want to thank every single person for coming in. Today we have a very good turnout, and we are grateful for that you have come into this place to hold this discussion. I also want to thank deeply Governor Peter Obi for, out of his busy schedule, for him to agree to humbly join us in this particular space and program. So I'll turn it over to Mr. Kachuku to formally introduce His Excellency Governor Peter Obi, and he will start off from there. Thank you.
All right, Obina, over to you. For those who may be wondering, we have a board that manages the community groups, just like Pastor has said. Obina, Pastor, who is also an ordained pastor in the Covenant Nation, is the chairman of the board. And so he will be giving our very special welcome to our guest tonight. Pastor Obina, over to you.
Thank you very much, Omwale, and thank you, Pastor Bojo. I know Pastor Bojo is still there. Thank you, for organizing this. And thank you, Your Excellency, for coming around. It's actually a great honor to have you very close. This is just like sitting across the table to have some conversations. I wouldn't do the normal platform kind of introduction. I'll do a pretty much informal introduction. The first time I saw His Excellency Peter Obi was on a poster some years ago. I actually attended Nnamdi Azikiwe University. So the first time he showed up on the radar was on a poster. I saw a gentleman with some round goggles, and he wrote, and his poster was, "Is Anambra State cost, or are we the cost?" And that was actually what registered in our heads. And before then, you had the ANPP, you had the PDP, you had different parties that were dominant. But he just came out with a new party. We didn't really know what it was. And that's the image of him that I have. And that's the longest memory of him I actually have. And when we found out, we started getting to know him. We found out he has been in industry. He was a chairman of a bank, Fidelity Bank. He's been chairman of Card Center, Charms, Garden Express Bank. And he actually is a lion. He graduated from the University of Nigeria in Nsukka. And he's attended courses. He has certificates from different universities around the world, Harvard, Kellogg's, University of Columbia, Oxford, and recently he was the vice presidential candidate of the PDP in the last elections. I want to welcome him to this forum. Your Excellency, in this forum you have a mix of top executives in their careers. You have people in finance, people in telecoms, people in oil and gas, and you have people that are just beginning politics. So we have people that are getting into politics, and you have these executives and these middle management people that are interested in getting involved in politics. So that's a kind of mix. You have different political interests. They are the ones in the crowd. Thank you very much. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, Obina. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, sir.
Okay. Well, good evening. Let me start by most sincerely thanking Pastor Poju. I know nobody can thank him enough in this country and his commitment for building a better country. Thank you. I'm sure God will continue to bless you and your team for your commitment. Obina and the rest of the team, Mola and Co, I thank you sincerely for this opportunity. In fact, Pastor had told me it was going to be an interactive section until this morning when he decided to give me a different directive and said, I have to, do a bit of talking, but then whatever the pastor says is in charge, I'll obey. For me, the question that was asked was very simple. Moving to the mainstream politics as an outsider, which I think we'll do more of it when we do interactive section. But there's a few questions that I would like to mention as we go along. Number one is, can any nation or any society exist without government or politics? The answer is no. Because government ensures provision of law and order. Government ensures protection of life and property. Government provides and regulates public services from health to education and everything. Government manages the economy through policies and otherwise in financial. They both manage both the physical and monetary. So you can see that no nation can exist without government. Number two question is, who is a politician? Or who are the politicians? They are just people who engaged in political activities by being members of political parties, or those who seek for elective office to serve in government. Those who seek elective office to be elected in government are what we call political leaders. Political leaders, it's important to know that. These political leaders are people who are hired by the owners of the system, the nation, which is the citizen, to manage this enterprise called government. So they are just like we say, people going to hire an MD of a company or this or that. These are people who are hired. They are not the owners. Neither can you call them the real leaders. They are hired like you hire your driver or operator to operate the vehicle or the machinery. These are people who are political leaders. Thereby, the owners or the real leaders can hire or fire them, as the case may be. The third question is, which is the topic, moving from being an outsider into the mainstream politics. One, I would say you're moving from being an outsider because you are part of owner. So you are moving from ownership to operator. How do you do that? There's no clear, apart from the few things that are enshrined in the Constitution, there's no clear criteria or method or defined route. Once you're a citizen of a nation, you are qualified. All you need to do is to go to your local ward or local government and register as a member of any of the political parties and decide either to seek a political office or even be elected within the party machinery, or just be a member who wants to contribute in the party agendas, manifestos. What will drive you, or what will make you interested in doing this will depend on the values you cherish, the desires and what you want and everything. And for me, it is getting involved is not just for those who are in politics, it's for everybody. We all need to be involved in the process of politicking in order to build a better society. In order to check the politicians, this I'll elucidate as I go further, but everybody, so there's no clear criteria. So what the next question is, why get involved? My answer is very simple. Well, I just said, if you get everything right in any nation or society, and your politics wrong, everything is wrong. Everything will go wrong. Because what you're doing is that you're going to hire the wrong people to run an affair that means everything you're doing. So it's a very critical component that you must get right. Two is like Gandhi will always quote it, and I said, and I quote, we are the change we want to see. Like Obama will always say, and I quote again, the change we want, or the time we want it, is now, and we are the change. So if all this, you look at all this, the question is, look at all those who have been part of change in any system. They're just ordinary people like me and you who decided to get involved, whether you talk from our founding fathers, Awolowo, Zik, Sadwana, or to other areas of the world in Ghana and Nkrumah, South Africa, Mandela, Gandhi, or even recent ones, whether they are doing the right thing or the wrong thing, like Trump. He was just an ordinary businessman who decided to get involved. So there's no criteria to get involved. You can move from what will drive you to get involved is what you think, where you want the society to be, what you envisage that is going right or wrong. And let me use my own little example to elucidate what I'm saying further. Like Odin, I did mention now what happened at my inception. I was never a politician. I had never voted, never been involved in politics. I know you've heard me several times talk about this process that brought me into it, but for the purposes of this event, let me repeat. In 1999, Professor Obi was denied ticket of being the governor of a presidential gubernatorial candidate in Anambra State. And he decided to move to Abuja. When the people found out that the governor then wasn't doing the right thing, they went to him and said, we want you to come in 2003 and contest the election to be the governor of Anambra State. And he said, no, in 2003, I will be 60 years old. Anambra is a very difficult state it will require a young man that is successful and can be a bit stubborn in dealing with the situation of the state. I wasn't part of this discussion, but I'm just telling you what happened. And they gave him 3 months. In Easter 2001, they met him and he said to them, go and look for Peter Obi. The group came to my office in Lagos. You'll be surprised that when they finished talking, I just pleaded with them to leave my office. That I have nothing to do with this. That year, because every year I go and spend time in school. That year I was doing a 3-month course in Kellogg Graduate School. And we had a course by the founder of the school, Professor Donald Jacob, who took us on a course called the World Economy for 3 months. After 88 days, he did not mention one day Africa. And he's talking about world economy. On the 8th, 9th day, a day before his last day, which is that last day he's going to retire from that school, he's the founder. And I raised my hand and said, Dean, you've not said anything about Africa. He said to me, you want to know about Africa? I said, yes, I came from Africa. And I paid $40,000 for this course. He said, Peter, tomorrow we'll tell you about Africa, which is his last day. On that last day, everywhere was sealed up from captains of industries in Chicago and everything. And when he finished, he looked at me and said, Peter, you want to know about Africa? I said, yes. He said, there's nothing called African economy. Nobody puts Africa into planning. Have I ever seen a car called African spec? It was 2001. I said, no. He said, there's Gulf spec, there's American spec, there's European spec, there's Asian spec, but no African spec, because Africa is not in the plan. Said to me, if I go to Nigeria, can I get a 5-year, 10-year, 20-year, 25 years, and 30 years plan? Of course, the hall was filled up. I said, yes. Even when I'm not sure there's a 1-year plan, but I said yes. So he said to me, Peter, join me for lunch. So after lunch, he said, can we take a walk by Lake Michigan? If you know Kellogg very well, it's on the bank of Lake Michigan. As we were about to take the walk, he said to me, do you have any of your country's currency? I said, yes. Then 100 Naira was the biggest denomination. I brought out 100 Naira. And he brought out $100. And he said to me, which of these two currencies do you prefer? And I said $100, because it's $100 Naira to $1. So what he gave me was $10,000, and mine is 100. So he said to me, okay, keep the dollar, I keep your Naira. So I took the $100, and we continued to work again. After a few, like a poll or two, he turned to me again and said, Peter, why do you prefer dollar to Naira? I told him the reason again, that it is 100 Naira to $1. So yours is 10,000 Naira. And he said to me, let's sit down. So we sat by a bench at the beach there. And he said to me, young man, the only reason why you prefer dollar to naira is the amount of faith you have in your country. Economy is driven by faith. You don't have faith in your country. It is not the rate, it is the faith. I founded Kellogg Graduate School in 1957, and I've been here since 1957. Today is my last day. I've served in board of many companies. Only two things drive the economy: faith and hope. You don't have faith, and there's no hope for you in your country. Then went around to tell me Chinese people keep their money in Chinese yuan, Singapore in Singaporean dollars, Malaysians in Malaysian ringgit, America in dollar. Then there was no euro, so he said Germans in German marks, Italians in lira. Even when the lira is, the rate is even worse than compared to number with our own then. He said they keep it in lira, British in pounds, but because you don't have faith, you keep it in another person's currency and making that person's economy stronger. Can I ask you for a favor? Because you have been one of the, we've been talking with you because the course is more of interactive. We've been talking with you. Can I ask you for a favor? I said, yes. He said, are you worth this amount of money? You have maybe $1 million. Then I said, yes. You have to. I said, yes. And he came to 5, said, yes. So let me tell you, if you're worth $5 million, the rest of the money you don't need because you have enough to buy food. Can I ask you for a favor? I said again, yes. He said, go back to your country and participate in building public wealth. Public wealth enriches everybody. Individual wealth impoverishes everybody. The problem you have in your country is that people are working hard to take the resources of the country alone, and then the public, everybody becomes poor. I'm a lecturer here, and I drive a Mercedes 500, one of the big vehicles. My wife is a lecturer, it drives a Lexus. My daughter is a lecturer, it drives a Lexus. Do lecturers in your country drive that type of car? I said, well, maybe some, maybe, you know. He said, go back and participate in this. It is important, we've watched you, that's where you belong. Private money does not enrich anybody, doesn't enrich society. This was on Friday, like I said, it's the last day, his last day. I left Chicago on that night because of the way flights are straight to London, to British Airways on Saturday morning, came back to Nigeria. As Obina has mentioned, being a director in a bank, we had paid for a second office in Onitsha. We've rented an office in Onitsha, a second office, but we're having problem with the landlord. And I just came back on a Saturday because the landlord will pay the money. The children don't want us to take possession of the house. I decided I'm going to Onitsha with the first flight. That's how I left for Onitsha. Usually I don't fly, but because I wanted to make sure the lawyer who are lawyer then and everything said we must be the man on Sunday. So on Sunday after the meeting, I was driving back to Lagos Monday morning. I came to a place called Opiweka, and I saw a circle of people, 8 a.m. in the morning. And I asked my driver then, Mr. Godwin, stop. He said, no, it is a group called the Bakassi people. They want to kill some people who are thieves. I said, that's why you must stop. I had to shout and do everything for him to stop. And within 5 seconds, 2 young men were pulled out of the car and their head cut off. Everybody was watching and clapping. I've never seen or imagined that I will ever see such in my life. Of course, we drove back to Lagos by road. And when I arrived Lagos, I decided that whatever brought us this slow, I, Mr. Peter Obi, will be part of fighting it. That singular thing made me to say, the children in Anambra are not in school because schools were shut down for 1 year between the end of 2000 and 2001. As at that time, there's no school in Anambra State. So children are not going to school. I said, whatever brought us this slow, I'm going to be part of fighting it. I'm going to be involved. And that is how I, who have never had anything to do with politics, decided to get involved. And like Obinna said, in my poster, that's how I printed that poster, to ask that question, is Anambra State cursed? Because it might be that we are cursed by God, or are we the cause? And that was my poster throughout that election. And that was the question I wanted people to answer me. How did we arrive at this judge? How did we get this law? I wasn't even a member of any political party when I printed it. I just went around preaching to people and saying, whatever brought us this law, we must challenge the rascality. We must stop this rascality. And I did that for next 3 years till 2003, when the election was conducted, won the election, and of course, you know what happened. I was again denied because they announced somebody else. I decided, no, I'm not going to take it, and I'm going to fight this rascality. And I was in court for 3 years. Of course, the court declared me the winner. Again, you know what happened when I started? After 6 months, I was again impeached, moved from the same office. I went back to court. And so on. So why did I explain this? That there's no criteria, there's no rule. It's just for you to look at and say, what is happening here? Why can we be so insanely complacent when our nation is in decline? When the situation is in decline, you might find out that your comfort zone, you might not be there for too long. So the earlier we stop the decline, the better for everybody. And that is mine. And you could see what is happening in our nation. When I was saying this, when I became governor, I told somebody a few days ago, Naira was 120 to 1. Today it's hitting 500. So you can go on and see what is happening. So there's no criteria. What it is important is that we all need to get involved. I think we'll discuss more when we go in the interactive section. Once again, Pastor and his team, I thank you for this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. Thank you for that insightful story. At least it's giving us the background on how you joined politics. That's actually what we meant as an outsider, because before you came on the posters, we didn't know who Peter Obi was. We already knew a lot of names, and you came in and started influencing the environment, or the political environment. There's one very interesting question someone asked here. The person says that you are the kind of leader that Nigeria needs to transform. But he said, you've always voiced that you're a trader, which you actually are. And understanding the Igbo apprenticeship system, where traders train their apprentice and set them forth to become traders, other traders, or bigger traders, set them off in their trade, that do you think this mentoring system can be applied to politics? That's number one. And number two, if yes, do you have a platform where you're mentoring people? And if yes, again, how does someone get into that mentorship community?
Well, it's very, very simple. That's what you're doing now, Obina. That's what I suppose you is doing. I don't need to set up any special system for it. When Pastor said to me, I want you to come and do this. And like he knows, you know, there's nothing Pastor asked me that I said no to. So for me, this is what we're doing now. We don't need to set any other thing special to do that. It is the same process. We just need to be able to get people to know that we all need to be involved.
Thank you very much, sir. Moale, you want to go with a question?
Yes, thank you, Pastor Wara. Thank you very much, Your Excellency. You've said so many things. We have so many questions, almost 100 questions. So we're going to try and take as many as we can. So there's a question that came in, and I want to tie this to what you said about no criteria, and you just, you were just literally angry about things and decided to do that. So someone says, sir, as an outsider breaking into mainstream politics, did you have to make compromises and adjustments to your thoughts and purpose for going into politics? If yes, can you share an instance with us and how you were weighed and what the compromise was?
Capital no. You just have to say, this is what I want to stand for and everything. Let me tell you, I just give you an typical example. When I was being impeached, my impeachment, and those who are involved will know, would have been saved if only I was ready to pay an amount that was demanded by the House of Assembly members. And I said it won't happen. Let them impeach me. I said it in the platform. I've said it everywhere. I was impeached for 3 items. 1, there was no office of governor when I started, and there was a budget of 298 million naira to repair the office of the governor. I did that with 43,200,000. And they said I didn't go through due process because people didn't share that money. Number 2 item was, there was no governor's lodge. There was already a budget passed that to repair the governor's lodge was 486 million. I did it with 81 million. They said I didn't go through the process. Number 3 is that I started saving money. I said we must save money. No system consumes everything. No matter how this thing, we must save, no matter how little. They said these 3 items, so for them, since you're saving money, why don't you bring out? I said, forget it. I would rather go than compromise that. Because if you do, that's the end of it.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. There was someone, yeah, you wanted to say something.
Just before you go on, thank you very much. There's a follow-on question that's related to that. I just want you to dig a little deeper because, again, we really appreciate the mentoring and coaching. So this question is really a coaching question. So we've heard what you said, stand with your integrity and what you believe. And someone says, but in a party where all they do is not in line with one's political and leadership ideology, how is it possible to really participate? For example, during elections, maybe candidates share money for party members and the person says, I don't believe in that. What would be the best thing to do?
Well, let me tell you, you said, is there any compromise, is there anyone you have moderated and everything? There's no, when you come to what you mentioned now, when there's election, some candidates share money, some candidates do this kind of, my take in it is that don't be extreme where you said, oh, if people are giving one naira, I don't have anything to give at all. Maybe you have 5 kobo to give. Try to talk them, like Obinna said, when I was campaigning, People had more money, more everything, but I tried to be able to, where they donate 1 million, I donate 100,000 and do a bit of convincing. If you go there and say, oh, maybe I don't have anything to give you, maybe you wouldn't have an opening through the door. So you need to open the door with political activity all over the world. You raise some money, you know, you put into it, but make sure that whatever you're doing, if it's your own money, do not spend money you need for yourself and for your family. Only spend the excess, and then try to get some people who believe in your ideas to raise money for you.
Okay. Well, I think I'd like His Excellency to talk a little bit more on that fundraising. Now, we have a middle class that is trying to get involved in politics. Example, let's say I'm trying to get involved in politics. I have the money for my family. I have very good ideas. What is my next step? How do I raise, what's the direction in raising money? How do I raise monies to fund this, my vision? It's a little bit difficult for raising money for businesses. So how do you actually raise money for politics, like a middle class person?
I mean, today I'm a politician. Let me classify myself as that. And I can tell you, I've donated money into people's businesses. What I mean, sorry, into people's political activity. Just like I've loaned people money to do businesses. I've also seen some good candidates. I've gone to people to beg the people, say, please come and contest for this post. I will give you some funding. I've done that. Clearly, people who don't want to. And if you ask today in Anambra State, they will tell you. So people, if you mean well, like there's so many Nigerians that want to support somebody who means well.
Yeah, thank you very much, sir. I think that's quite clear. I'll ask an entirely different question. Sorry, Moali, let me just take this. In Nigeria, we're pretty much, you have different people from different languages, different states spread abroad everywhere in Nigeria. Do you think it's possible in the current political landscape for people to contest for elections outside their geopolitical zones and win? And if you have someone that comes to you that's not in that kind of idea, like someone from the Southwest trying to contest for an election in the Southeast, what would you advise the person as at now?
Well, I'll advise the person that if you look at what you just said, it is not entirely possible. It depends on which area. You know, I have in Onitsha, one of the people that I work with in Onitsha is from the Southwest. He's a professor of business. He runs the business school in Onitsha. He's my very good friend. If he's contesting an election in Onitsha today, I can tell you he will have a lot of support. And people like me will support him because he has lived there for a long time. It's like where you have some people from Southeast that have lived in Lagos all their life. But if you go from Southwest and go to Enugu and after 2 years or 1 year say you want to contest an election, or vice versa, I will say to you, no. That it's better for you to be involved in the politics and, you know, as a political party member and all that, not to go and say, we've not reached that standard or development where you can just move from here to Kanu and say, like it happened in America, where Miss Clinton will come from Arkansas and go to New York and say he wants to be a senator from there. We've not developed to that stage.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay. Yes, I want to take us back to the money issue again, because we had so many questions around money. And there was a very practical one. You mentioned, you know, giving, and you've had to give to people's activities. And some people, say, okay, well, you are a director in the bank, you worked hard, you were, a capitalist. So someone asked a question, so how much money should one acquire in one's war chest before you try breaking into politics?
It's like saying, how much money do you have to acquire to start making money? There's no more, there's not, you see, money is issue. When it comes to money, you talk about contentment. You see, when I talk to when I see in Nigeria at times, when I see the way people are stealing and dealing with money, you just find out that they're sick, because greed must have limit or you're sick. I just told you that we have enough money to be able to buy the basic things you need. That is the much you need. You don't need to just go on and on and on. There's no limit to what you can acquire to be able to join a good cause. And you have to know that it's better for you to help in building a better society than acquire monies that your children will not be able to even enjoy.
Okay, thank you, sir. This is just a follow-on to that particular question, because someone had posted a question and said that for you to get back as a young person, what are the things you think, what would you advise that young person to start doing? I think they were in a session where someone said it's important to give value before you can be backed to run for an office. So in your experience, what are the things to give value? So someone said that it's important to give value to the system before someone like you or someone or the community can back you to run for an election. So I want to bring it home to say, since you have spotted talent in the past that you felt could serve in a political position and you try to support them, what are the things you would encourage a young person to start doing to gain the attention of people that can actually take interest in them like you?
I mean, I will not tell anybody to go into politics as a career. No. It is not a career. That is why, so don't leave school after youth service and say you want to go and contest for House member. Then you're trying to turn it into a career. You just want to use it to make money of this. It should be so, you have to get involved in a more meaningful endeavor, possibly where you have, the reason why you have the problem you have today in Nigeria with our polity is that you have people, so many people who have never done anything in their life, who have never created any wealth, becoming managers of the nation's resources. I don't think I know what it means when somebody moves from, has that type of transition, moving from doing nothing to a manager. It's a crisis. And that's what you're seeing. So my advice is that you have to find a meaningful endeavor and a career where you prove yourself and what you do.
Yeah.
And with that, you can even be able to serve and go back to where you're coming from. The reason why you see that so many political office holders in Nigeria don't leave or fight, remove the roof, kill people, is because they have nowhere to go back to. And having made money there, they believe that, oh, well, listen, I'd rather die on this. Otherwise, they have a career. You go back to where you're coming from.
Thank you, sir. Very important about politics and career. Thank you. So there's another question. This is a bit different, but we keep having this question. This is obviously, powered by a Christian organization, and we have lots of beginners. And so somebody is saying, sir, have you faced the temptation of occultism in politics? We keep hearing fetish. Have you ever been invited for rituals? Well, I know you wouldn't. I'm not sure you will.
One is that nobody will invite me to that. And I'll never be part of that. And I advise anybody, don't be part of that. All those things are deception that makes no meaning. You know, why will you go through that? If nobody should involve in that. I would rather go and ask for support you to pray for me, because I think that will give me greater height than going to the other side. It will never happen. I will never be part of it, and I will make sure that whenever I come across it, speak and fight against it.
Thank you very much, sir. Omwali, should I go with a question? Can I?
Yes, yes, go ahead.
Okay. So someone says you are quoted to have said that men in power are not being told the truth. It says, how did you survive this in leadership? How were you able to find trustworthy advisors and keep yourself in check so that you always get the truth and people are comfortable to tell you the truth?
Number one is surround yourself with competent people and allow them, always say to them, let me tell you, when I had my cabinet, the first thing I told them is what I tell people on the boardroom. If all of you agree with me in 3 meetings, I'll dissolve this meeting. Wherever you see people agreeing together, there's something wrong. So they said, if you agree with me, I'll dissolve this meeting. I want you to disagree with me. I'm only the coach of this team. All of us are in the field, and we must work. Coincidentally, because of this, I was able to get what I consider the best answer anybody can have. I have a chief of staff who combines as chief of staff, commissioner for planning, and chairperson in charge of our good governance, Professor Stella Okunna. I had a lot of other women, people, and I was surrounded by a lot of them who can say to me, listen, you know, you're wrong. I had somebody that had a lady that was in what we call year 7 when I was in year 1 in secondary school, who walks into my office and tells me, this small boy, you don't listen. So they were there for me. You know, I'll say something and they'll say, no, you're wrong. You need people to tell you that you're wrong. That's one in the office. Then don't surround yourself with all sorts of irresponsible aides that don't allow the public to talk to you. Be free with the public and listen to what they are saying. You will see me always give this example. Obi, I'm happy you said you were in university. I cleared 35 billion naira pension gratuities that were unpaid. How did that happen? I go to church every morning before I go to office. On this fateful day, I was praying in the church because my policy, everybody knows as a governor, no security man follows me into the church. Because for me, if I take security into the church, then I don't believe in God. So I go into church, like you see me coming to covenant any day, I don't come in with security people. Everybody is outside, if it's church. So I came into the church and I was praying. This elderly woman, 80 years old, Mrs. Lindibe, you know, she's late now. May God grant her eternal rest. Came to me. She was 80 then. I said I should stop praying. 44, he took my Bible, folded everything. And I said, oh my, everybody said, my living. I said, no. I should go and pay her gratuity and pension before God will listen to my prayers. That he will even pray for me. Otherwise, God will not listen to me. I said, ma, why don't I come and see you this evening? He said I shouldn't come to her house, so he doesn't want to see me. I should just go and pay. Anyway, I left the church, asked my people to see the best house and everything. And then in the evening, I drove to the house. Of course, my car couldn't even get to our house. We stopped at the place and we walked to the house. Of course, walked into this woman's house. Here is an elderly woman sitting on her own, just eating corn and everything. And when she saw me, she said, "Hey, so you came. I told you no." So he said, "We didn't know I was coming. You would have prepared. You would have kept something for me. What is he going to offer me now?" I said, "Ma, let me eat the corn." He said, "No, can't give me this corn. Look at how dirty she is." But that woman told me stories that if you hear it, Obina, every day I talk about it, I feel a sense of pain that those who owe gratuity and pension are wicked. When the woman finished hearing the woman's story, I said, "Ma, I'm going to deal with this." I went back to my office and said, "Please, we must clear all gratuity and pension before I leave here." And we did. So you need to listen to people. Don't bother about anything. People will come. I had a situation where people said they want to come and do courtesy call to you. They come to your office and start telling you, since you took over, you become the best thing that happened to everybody and all that. Of course, in my own case, when they came first time and twice and I didn't give them any envelope, everybody stopped coming.
Interesting. Thank you very much, sir. Moale, you want to go with a question?
Yes, let me go with this question. Thank you very much, sir, for that answer. And I particularly like what you said about the woman coming and saying the prayer will not be answered. Let them just pay, because Pastor God is also preaching something around that, and helping people and doing what is right, instead of just praying and not doing what is right. So thank you for reinforcing that. There's a question that speaks specifically to you and your interest, your passion about education and economy. And the question says, with the level of increase in tuition fees in our tertiary institution, is there a possibility of running free tuition fees in our schools, government-owned tertiary institutions? Is the economy viable enough for that? I'm asking this question having in mind that you are very passionate about education and economy.
The answer is capital no. And I'll tell you what I'll do. What the country needs now is to have effective universal basic education. And that is primary and secondary school, well equipped, very effective, and then tertiary institution provide what is available all over the world, a loan system that will make people to borrow money, pay for it, get good education, and come out, get a good job, and pay it back. There's job globally today. You can become, today you can be in Nigeria and working for a corporation in Japan, or in Hong Kong, or in New York. Thereby, you need to be properly trained. There's what we're doing now is that we're hurting the future of our own people. What is important is, I repeat, is basic education that is proper, that is good. If you have it, tertiary education is important, is good, but I can tell you, if you have the basic thing, you can go to any land. Even when we talk about all those who founded the biggest company in the world today that we all celebrate is Apple. The founders of Apple did not go to university. They had just sound basic education, both Steve Jobs and his partner. But today, Apple is worth 1.8 trillion, when the entire African economy is a GDP of 2.1 trillion. I'm sure in the next few days, next few years, Apple will be GDP of Africa. So what you need is a sound basic education, and pull those 13 million people that are out of school into education. Especially now that it's been proved that Our diaspora money is more than the money we get in oil. So this is time to, we have 15 million people in diaspora that are bringing 25 billion today. And we have 15 million outside the school system. So imagine what will happen if we train that 15 million and they become diasporans as well. We'll double that income. So that's where I will invest money and then give loan for tertiary institution, for tertiary education. And I can tell you it will work.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. I'm going to take one of the questions that someone has just screamed very loud that she had posted a long time and we haven't taken it. And that speaks directly to your thoughts around the appropriate level to come into politics. So what is the entry point? The person gave an instance, like in the last election, we saw some good technocrats, people that have pretty much succeeded in their careers, just coming straight and aspiring for presidency. The person is asking that for people aspiring to go into politics, what are your general thoughts around the best entry point?
Well, like I said before, it depends on the value. It depends on what is driving you. You know, like I said, when I went in, for me, it was a case of how can we be killing people on the streets like this? How can we have kids that are not in school? What are they going to be 10, 20 years from that time? So it depends on what is driving you. You can't say what is the best entry point to everything. It is a question of that, hey, listen, somebody like you, Obi, whom I can say from even a little conversation, can be able to serve the public faithfully. You don't need an entry point. When I recruited people, I met people, commissioners, without knowing, without meeting them. Like I said, the person I met my chief of staff, I've never met that all the while I was campaigning. Everybody knows. I'm sure maybe you know Professor Kuna. I just read my CV where it says, first female professor of mass communication. And I said, oh, let me make her commissioner for information. But when she came in, she was more than that. I said, okay, you become my chief of. I found out that when I give them, query me, he was the one who will always say, you can't do it. You're not allowed to do it. You know? I remember one of the days, one of my colleagues, governors, were visiting, and we finished talking. I said, can anybody make comments? And he said, Governor, you're totally wrong. Everybody was like, who is this woman that can talk to this man like this? You know, what is between them? But then they didn't know that my success depends on people. So there's not, you can recruit people. For me, I want to see good people get involved, support them the best way I can.
Thank you very much, sir. Mwale, do you want to take any of the questions online?
Yes, so I'm going to the Q&A sections that people have been posting, so we can take some from there. Your Excellency, like we said, we have people from all over the world as part of our community groups, and someone has asked that how can a Nigerian in diaspora join or be active in Nigerian politics? Any tips?
Well, today you can be active because you now have social media comments and everything. You can be active in the party. You can think social media doesn't work. It works. People listen to comments and everything. What we need is critical mass of good people. Our country is in decline, and we must reverse that. We have a situation now, that's why what people are doing is critical now. You see me say it every morning, every afternoon, every evening. We have a situation where lunatics are in charge of the asylum here. And I don't mean just one person. For local government, to all of us, including I'm involved in it. But when you have over 75% of the people, on the other side, you can generalize. So you might have one or two people. So we need critical mass of good people to be involved so we can reverse this course. If you compare us with nations, look at today, we are the nation with the highest number of poor people living under poverty. were the highest number. If you go and check the four countries that were the highest just in 2012. 2012 alone, India was 276. By then, we were at under 80. And India has now come down to where they are 60 million from 276 million. And our one has gone to almost 100. Even small countries like Bangladesh, that was 28 million in 2012, have moved to where they're now 20. You know, and in fact, Bangladesh is now 15. And we have moved the other way around. Ethiopia have moved from about 30 to 20. And we are moving. So we need to do something drastically.
Okay, thank you, sir. I'm going to ask another one. Again, just part of your coaching and mentoring. So many people, someone asked that many corporate people, when delving into politics, lack the ability to properly engage in the bottom of the pyramid politics. So are there practical tips you can share with us about how to effectively connect with the grassroots electorate in order to build a solid political base?
Well, I keep using myself as an example. I wasn't there. I've never even voted. You can imagine, I haven't even been going to my village and sleeping. I didn't even have a house in my village. But I went there. I went, just keep talking to the people. They listen. Go to the party functions, be part of it, you know, convince them that this thing, we can get it better. Tell them how we can do it better. That was my preaching then. I used to go into a gathering and they asked me to walk out. And people would say, Peter, what are you doing? But I keep going, I went on going around, pushing, you know, it's not gonna be easy. As we continue to get involved, we'll build the critical mass that can push out these people that don't want to listen.
Wow. Thank you very much, sir. That's very encouraging because, you know, I've been thinking about how to be involved in my state politics and I don't have a house there either. So you've encouraged me.
I think you should be involved in Lagos politics. You've been staying in Lagos and you've established yourself in Lagos. You are at the top of your career, so you should get involved in Lagos. Come on. You're on the board of Daily Times also. Come, you should do all these things.
Okay, my state needs help. Kogi, we need to go to Kogi. So we have another question for you, sir. So, you know, you said, you know, go be involved and you spoke, you're not afraid to do that. And someone is asking that, is there any hope for introverts? Because it seems like you must be able to really speak well and do all of that too. For introverts. So the person says, is there any hope for introverts? Good idea, they want to make a change, but they're not, you know, not the normal people like you that can speak well. And,
no, we are not in a speaking course or anything. It doesn't make any difference. You can, you know, in fact, let me be honest with you, I'm worried when people talk about speaking well, especially because, especially in this country where we take people speaking good English as intelligence. No. Let me tell you, that is not it. Or we take certificate. That's why I don't like when people, when I'm in occasion, people are reading out CVs and everything. And I tell them, listen, educational qualification is either a measure of intelligence or integrity. We have too many people who are educated, who are thieves. What we want is people who know, who can trust. Because the problem of Nigeria today is issue of management of our resources. Issue of dealing with our economy, issue of creating resources. Because people think, well, if a governor can go to Abuja or local government chairman and collect money and do a road and do this, that is fantastic. No, we want wealth creators who knows what it means to change a system, who also have Even a global South could understand how economies are run. Countries are grouped by economy. That's why you have G7, G12, G20. They're not by people who can speak good grammar. Otherwise, Britain would have been the best country because we all speak English. So it is not about that. It is about the economy. That's why Germany is the strongest economy in Europe and not England.
Thank you very much, sir. I want to take you a little bit backwards. I need you to just tell us a bit of the story. I know before you came into governance, you had started doing the background work, I think 3 years earlier. I remember seeing your posters in Oka. I wasn't in Oka when you had a party. I was in Oka when you had a poster, not a party. So give us that story, how you invested your time and how long you think we need to, and how well you think we need to invest our time before the D-Day so that we're not in a hurry, an election hurry.
Yes, for me, let me not say, I won't want people to do what I did. In the sense that I want them to get involved in a party, the members of party, and I have people who did that. They were just members of party, and they were all involved, but without doing what I did is I packed my suitcase, went from Lagos to my village. It would have nearly cost me everything. My wife wondering whether Sunday I'm still normal, because I had to go home to stay and said, I must see to the end of this. And you can imagine for somebody who has never been involved, said, hey, I'm packing my suitcase, you're going to the village where you don't have a house and everything. So go about it gradually, be part of it, and don't just enter when the election is coming and say, I want to contest the election. Be part of it early enough, engage in this, and this is critical, it's important, because part of what is happening in Nigeria here is that people come from nowhere without a daytime job, without any visible means of livelihood and everything, and just throw money around and we elect them. It shouldn't be. Go and look at politics everywhere in the world. You check the person's background. He has to have a proof, verifiable, visible means of livelihood, things you can look at and everything before you say, okay. Even in China, even with their communism, you start with local government, you move to the state, you move to central. Here, people just come from nowhere. That's a stop.
Yeah, thank you very much, sir. I'm going to just do a follow-on question to that. I know you don't want to be governor of Anambra State again. There's no going back. You can't be going back. You're going forward. But if you were opportune to be the governor of Anambra State again, is there anything you would have done differently? Okay, that's actually the basic thing. What would you have done differently when you think back?
There's nothing I would have done differently than what if you know where I picked Anambra from, because you were there. When I came to Anambra State, people think when I came to Anambra State, there was no governor's office because the office was burnt. There was no governor's lodge. There was no House of Assembly. There was nothing. We did not have a secretariat at all. All this was set up and built by me. There's something I always give people an example. What happened to me when I went to Anambra State? The managing director of Housing Corporation came to me to approve money to pay rent for where they are staying. And I said, how can you be Housing Corporation and you don't even own your own house? So how can people trust you to give you money if you're paying rent to somebody else? That's how we built. I said to him, I'm not going to approve money for rent. I want you to build your own house within the next 6 months. That's what I'm going to give you money. That's how I will know that you're a housing corporation. That's where they are still till today. So what I did was more of laying the foundation. You know, my predecessor came and did a few roads which one can recognize. And then building on that, I was able to say this will be an exemplary state. And by the time I left, we were #1 in education, we're #1 in health, and we were, in terms of MDG, which is the measure then, we were #1. So I don't think we would have done anything better. And we're trying to save for the future. So for me, I did what was necessary.
Yeah.
My interest now is, how do we build Anambra State? Sorry, how do we build Nigeria for the future? Because, like I keep saying, we are a nation in decline.
Thank you very much, sir. Molly.
Thank you, sir. That leads me actually to my next question. So this question, I'm not going to ask it how the person has asked, just so that I will give you a blank sheet. So the question is really about 2023. So that's the way I'll just say it. Anything you want to say about 2023? We have security challenges now, where we have the trappings of a failed state. You yourself just said there's so many things wrong. So please share a few words.
Well, I know what I said before, that we need the people who we're hiring must be competent. They must be qualified. They must know what the job is all about. It's not a question of what people say today. Oh, this person must be, even if we decide to do it by zoning, every zone have competent people. Whatever criteria you use, let's have people who are competent. It is not, people shouldn't vote because say somebody who is not competent because he's from the north or the west or the southeast. Because if it's not competent, we'll continue. We now have a country with the highest number of people living under poverty, highest number of out-of-school children. We have over 40 million youth unemployment. It's a crisis. Yes, you might say it's 20. With COVID now, it will be worse. It's a crisis. How do we hire somebody that can deal with this crisis, that understands what development is all about? We have a situation where we're borrowing money at a speed that can collapse any business without that money being invested. Have you seen a situation where in 2015, our GDP is $500 billion. Our debt is about 10 trillion naira. Today we are almost 3 times that. Our GDP has gone down. That means that money borrowed was not productive. And it is all of us politicians, not just one person or the other, that should be responsible for this. We didn't create jobs, we didn't create this. With COVID now, we have no alternative than to start talking something that's serious, and you're not even seeing it today. We are still talking about what was stolen and what wasn't stolen, fighting over nothing and everything. Election for us is still a war front because it's about transaction. If election is about work, people won't be shooting each other. So it is about transaction, and this has to stop so we can build a better country. We have to start holding people accountable. When you are voted into office, tell us what you do, and if you're not going to do it, please allow people who have what it takes to come and do it. So the rocket science is done in other countries. Can show you examples of countries that have done it better.
Okay, sir, thank you very much. One very mentor-like question. Many of us, when we think about the two dominant parties, we see very big structures that from the outside, we think people have hijacked those structures. And in our minds, we say, we keep asking ourselves the question whether it's possible to go into a smaller party and probably just contest for a state house of rep elections where you just need about maybe 100,000 people to vote for you. What would you tell somebody thinking like that in that direction?
What I said is that what we need to do is that we need critical mass of people who mean well to get involved. What you have now is that those who mean well like you,
are not involved.
More or less things, oh, this is not our business. We don't want to get involved. We will be killed. We will be doing this. And like I tell, when I went there, people said, oh, you're going to use your life. How can you, as 40, a young man doing well, the director in 2 banks, I was sitting on board of 9 quoted companies. How can you go and kill yourself? How can you go and do this? Why don't you put your money in this? If I tell you what I would have put my money that I went to use to help friends, if I put it now, I would have been worth maybe $100 million over, but let me tell you, I will still be an unhappy person. I prefer what I did. Because, like I said, we need to recruit critical mass of good people. All of us need to get involved. If this place collapses, none of us is going to survive it. Anarchy consumes everybody. So we need to, and if good number of good people go into that big party that will be hijacked, we'll take it from those who hijacked it.
Sure. Sure. Thank you very much, sir, for that. I think I gained a lot from that particular answer, because that's if you come to people like us, we think there is no way penetrating those parties, but the major challenge is because people that are listening to this, that are under this coaching session and mentorship session, are scared of going in. Because if you go into any of the big parties, 500,000 people going, it actually overruns the whole place somehow.
Completely.
Yeah, thank you very much, sir. Molly, had a question for...
I have a question, sir. Obviously, you are not a woman, but as a leader, I know that you're a leader of both women and men, and will continue to be in the future. So we have a question here. And the person is asking, how do we solve, or how can we solve the issue of women, being internally displaced in their own country when they express interest in running? And the recent issue of no wife and her appointment or not comes to, is an example.
Come again?
So, yes, so somebody gave an example of the recent, the Ondo wife appointment or no appointment, Nimi Akikube, and just basically asking, how can we solve this issue of women being internally displaced in their own country?
Well, I don't think that's not an issue at all. If I tell people one thing they don't know, anywhere, anytime, in politics, in anything, women are better managers than men. I was a chairman of a bank, and if I tell you, all the key people I had around me was women, because they care more about the society and their children than men. And they are less greedy. They're still less. As a governor said it, my chief of staff, who was able to say no to me, was a woman. My accountant general was a woman. My commissioner for finance was a woman. And you can't get my commissioner to pay for money that she doesn't believe in. People said to me, oh, it's because he's a pastor of Redeemed Church. I said, no, this is somebody I know right from elementary. She's not stubborn. And I said, listen, because why can't you pay this money? He said she needs a better explanation. I'm the governor who hired you. And you say, you would have been there. Please kindly explain better what you mean by this. So what do we mean? The man who asked that question. So when you have women, they're actually better managers. I know what we're doing with Ngozi. Ngozi was crying every day for us to save money as governors. I was there. She was crying every day. Let's save money for rainy day. People were shouting and abusing her. Said, let's share the money. Which rainy day? Where is this woman from? Imagine if they have saved that money, that woman was crying, $20 billion. We wouldn't be where we are today.
Yeah, yeah. You still have a question, Morley?
I was actually just still going to, still deep dive into that question,
Okay.
sir. So the person that asked it is actually a female. And the thing is, you get it. You seem to get it. But how do we, how do we really solve? Because it is an issue. When women come out and...
We have to continue talking about it. We have to continue insisting about it. And I believe that they should be more involved. They have good managers. We have passed a stage where you can think about men being better than women. No. It's totally unacceptable.
All right, sir. Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. This is just about party democracy. I reckon that a couple of people on the call are already party members. The person is asking what are your thoughts around institutionalizing standard democracy within the parties.
Well, like I said, what you need is critical mass of good people. As long as you allow it the way it is now, where the process has been hijacked by those who should not be part of it, that's what you will get. Is it opener? If a bunch of mad people come into the church today and occupy it, and you the pastor comes on Sunday, what they will do is to scare you away. And if you run away, they stay there. But if a critical mass of the people, the worshippers, overrun them, you chase them out. That's how it is. What we have in our country today is that we have a situation where squatters have taken over a home. And then we stay outside and be shouting, squatters are inside, squatters are, but we can overwhelm them because we're more.
Okay, thank you very much. Morley, are you going with a question?
Yes, I'm going. So, sir, I'm back again. It's not a different question. Still on the women, because we have the bill here, and I need to make sure that the question is answered properly. So there are two people saying. One has said the question is really about, a woman says she wants to run, and they say this is, you go to your father's village. Then you go to your father's village. They say no, we have married you off to your husband. That's one.
No. Let me tell you, it's a very simple thing. She can be anywhere. Ngozi Wala, in her first ministerial appointment, Oda Obasanjo, was appointed minister from her husband's place under Obasanjo. He was a minister from South. Under Jonathan, she was a minister from Southeast. Stella Odua today is a senator from her father's place. Grace Bent was a senator in Adamawa when she's a Yoruba from her husband's place. So you can be anything. And if you don't know, I believe in it. When I came into Senate in Anambra State, Stella Odua was in the north, Uche Kurife was in central, and I was trying to recommend another woman, even for south. Our three senators would have been women, but today we have 2 and 1 woman and 1 man. So we even have a place where women have taken 60% of the position instead of 30 they were clamoring for. So I can assure you that women are good managers and should be given a chance. I've seen it in office, I've seen it around everywhere, and all that. They organize us. So they should be encouraged every time.
I want to thank you, Your Excellency. Before Morley comes back, I want to ask a very important question around godfatherism in Nigerian politics. Now, when you were talking about coming into politics, you mentioned ABC Nwosu as the person that first told you to come and do this thing, and you refused. He was like an elder figure.
He didn't tell me. He told those people to come and see me.
He told those people. He told those people. So somehow you've been telling the story, and it's looked like it was a person that recommended you initially. So
Yes.
one would assume that he played the role of a senior brother, of a father, in making you venture into politics. How do you see? Yeah. How do you see his role and how he supported you compared to what we traditionally see as people that are in quote godfathers today in the country?
Let me tell you, he was just somebody who is committed to doing what is right. I'll give you an example. What I did in education is what ABC Nwosu would have preferred. He believed in education. And I went there and did exactly what he would have preferred to see Anambra State on top in education. Not one day did he say, because I introduced you, I want you to appoint somebody as SA anything. And I can tell you, following that, you know how close I was to Ojukwu, who again you can say, who supposedly would be a godfather to me, but he was never. Instead, he became somebody that supported my vision and commitment. Even when we have a meeting and people say, oh, ABCDF, he will always call me and say, Peter, you see that thing you said you want to do, please do it for the people. Always put the people first. And of course, I wasn't there to talk about godfatherism in our politics. Is that because people are incompetent and they allow it. There's nothing called godfatherism. I've supported people to emerge in politics. And like I always say, I've appointed people to be chairman of local government. Go and ask any of them where they bought coke for me, for my wife, or for any of my relations. If you do it, you're doing the wrong thing.
Okay, Moale, please, can I just take this particular question? So you are you're a family person. You have a very strong nuclear bond. How do you cope with managing the politics and your family? That's a lot of things middle class people think about when they want to venture into politics. They say, how do I manage my children and my wife and the entire exposure? What's your advice, sir?
Well, it is tough. It is tough, you know, it is very, very, very tough. But then what I did is to separate the family from politics. As you know, I was the only governor that ran with that office of First Lady. I felt that confusion shouldn't be there. I was the one they voted for, and let me deal with them. They have other person on the side where two of us are giving approvals, which would have had its own issue. So, and make sure that you do the right thing. You see, we have a situation where you have, we don't, it's a very, how do I say it? It's something that you have to plan to manage properly. Separate it, make sure you give it the time that it requires. At the same time, that is the time you're spending in office is spent for the office.
Okay, thank you very much, sir.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. We still have over 100 questions, but we have 10 minutes left because we also want to manage time. We promised to finish by 6:45. So we'll probably take about 2 or 3 more questions and then try and wrap up. There's a simple one.
No problem, even if you take it up to 7 to be able to accommodate them.
All right.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much.
Moale, go ahead.
Okay, so there's just a simple one here about, again, the theme of this is, you know, getting into mainstream politics as an outsider, and someone wants to know, how did you get information? Now that's real practical information about governance and running a government, and how being able to work within the ambience of the law. What did you do? Did you read up on that? Did you, you know, How?
It's a very easy thing. We have freedom of information. You can get any information you want. And like I always said, before I went into government, I've never worked anywhere in government. I've never been part of that process. But while I'm in there, because you have experience in managing somewhere, it is the same thing. I can get Mole, you Obina, going today, hit the ground and running. Once you mean well, people will come to you even with the right information. You get the right advice and everything. And even what they say about corruption, people will cheat you, people will steal in your name, and it is not true. Once you are not stealing, you reduce it by 70%. Because they say, this Omole woman, if I take this into her, she wouldn't approve it. Oh, this has been, I know, the man is too, somehow, he wouldn't approve this, And with time, he will circulate everywhere that you're not that type of person. And everybody will run for cover. But if everybody sees you as one who is into, oh, this is a transactional person, they'll give you enough transaction.
Wale, you still have a question that you want to go with?
No, go ahead. I'm trying to pick the best. There are too many questions, so I'm trying to pick which one. So if you have one, you can go ahead.
Okay, this is actually personal to you now. It's a personal question. They just decided to know you a little bit more. They said, why do they call you? Why do they call you the Rock? Why do they call you Stone?
It's very simple. It's my name now. All of us are in the church. You're a pastor. It's my name. God said it's on this rock that I'm going to build my church.
Okay, thank you very much. And okay, in a very simple terms, it is quite hazy when you tell when people want to join political parties, they ask themselves, so what's the next step? What do I do? So if you want to join any of the major parties today, what would you tell the person on the line?
Just go to your local government or the area where you live. If you're in Lagos, register there. There's a local place where you know.
Okay, thank you very much. Omwale, you have it there. You should go register in Lagos, don't think about going back to Ibadan or your state, I guess.
But I said Kogi.
Kogi. They don't even know you in Kogi, so why do you want to go there?
Kogi politics is tough.
It is. Sir, you are supposed to be mentoring us, so not discouraging us. You say it's tough.
But he's advised you. You have done your career in Lagos. You've gotten to, you're doing big things in Lagos. People know you in the tech space, in the media, and you should do it in Lagos if you want to do politics.
The truth is, I'm ready to serve Nigeria. It doesn't matter where. So I'm
no,
okay.
My sister, I encourage you to do that. Let's get this place to work. It can work. It's a country that has everything. All we need is a good team to make it work.
Okay, so there's a question here, that some people believe in terms of making it work. Some people believe in gradual incremental changes to our political systems. And some, on the other extreme, believe that the system is fundamentally flawed and therefore cannot yield any, profitable returns like the revolution agitators right now. So where in this spectrum do you stand? What is your opinion?
Come again, that like which agitation?
Well, that's the revolution agitators right now. So people believe,
Well, let me tell you, in a democracy, the quickest way to deal with the situation is that how many people voted in this government? Go and check the number. In a democracy, what we need is to mobilize the voters who are today suffering both at the federal and the states. There's no state today or at the federal where we have up to 50% of the vote, registered vote. So there's other 50% who feel it's not their business. We mobilize them and urge them to come out That is what it is. We need to go door to door. We need to convince people all over the country to know that it is not about voting for your own person or this person said is going to do this. What we need is people to build the country. What we need is people who can make things work.
Thank you very much, sir. I think the conversation has actually revolved around encouraging good people to go into politics. There's a question I have here. It says, getting good people involved. It says, what are your thoughts around setting up a platform to recruit or mentor these good people? So I think we need to, the need to mobilize these good people.
That's what we are doing now. There's no platform to recruit them. There was no platform that Obama used to recruit those who followed him. There's no platform that Mandela used to recruit those that followed him. There's no platform. I can go on and on. The platform is the people. You have young leaders now in Finland, in Sweden, in France, and everything. There's no platform. The platform is the people saying no. Obama didn't create any platform. He went on into the mainstream party and challenged the status quo, challenged their principles first. So let us challenge those who are there now and say, no, we cannot continue to drive this vehicle in this manner. We need competent drivers. We need those who can make it work. And we'll show them with the numbers. It's a very easy thing. I've shown you, I can show you 10 countries in Africa that have doubled their GDP and per capita in the past 10 years. I can show you everywhere in the world. Those who have started, who have moved, the easiest means of measure of development is Human Development Index. I will show you countries that we at par with in year 2000 that have now moved so many steps up, and we are, just like I told you, that it's Ethiopia, Bangladesh. I use this because they were far smaller. Bangladesh had in 2010 per capita of $748, and ours was 2,350. Today they are 2,740, and we are 1,920. It doesn't make sense. So we need managers of this. I was in Bangladesh in 2008. I spent time, I was 1 week in Bangladesh as a governor, visiting their schools, asking them what they're investing in, what are they doing. From Bangladesh, I went to India. I can show you the studies of all this, my visit and everything. So I know what nations are doing. And we can do it here. It's something that you can deliver with effortless ease.
Thank you very much, sir. Amade, do you want to go with a question?
No, I'm looking for a final question. So if you have...
Oh, you're looking for a final question to attend. So, Your Excellency, we have a lot of people here actually talking about, there are a lot of questions that relate to getting good leaders. How can good leaders be selected from the crop of, in quote, bad leaders we have that are ruling the parties currently? And I think you have somehow done justice to that by letting us know that if we want good people, then good people should also get involved in their droves inside the parties. Else, we probably can never get good leaders in the country. Is that what you're trying to say? That If we want good leaders to thrive, that's the people we're looking at as good leaders today, and we want them to come out and lead, then we that are looking up to them need to get involved in the system so much. Is that what you're saying, sir?
We have a situation where those who should be conductors are drivers. So those who are trained drivers should come and drive this vehicle. Let the conductors do their work. Otherwise, this vehicle will crash. That's simple. We need competent people to come in. Look at the country. Let me tell you, Obina. Even for Mole, who is there, whatever it is, we have a country where a state without one single ventilator, no single hospital, buys 50 jeeps for people who have never had a car in their life, but they don't have a ventilator. Where does it happen? Everybody knows that for development to happen, you invest in education, you invest in health, and you invest in supporting micro, small businesses. And that is the area where we should be. It is not a rocket science, and it goes across the whole country. People think, oh, the North, the population we have in the North, if we invest in them, the country will be far better. It is not a question of whether they are Christians or Muslims. Indonesia is doing well today. It is the country with the highest number of Muslims in the world. It's because they've invested in their people. You come to the South here, we invest in people. If we invest in them, Nigeria has what it takes today to become, by 2050, an economic power. It's very simple. All you need to do is to start investment today. Because you become a global village where they are looking for people to work. And it doesn't take anything. I've met Nigerians across all this. We have institutions that are doing very well. Look at our debt servicing because the money was not invested. Just in one quarter, we are using 771 billion naira to service debts, when in the entire year, our capital budget for education is 51 billion. Capital budget for health is about that. So if you put these two together, they're not even up 1/6 of what you used to service debt in 3 months. We need to get it better. That's all.
Thank you very much, sir. Omwale, sorry, just before you take the next question. Oh, Pastor, did you want to say something?
Yes, I think we should take the final question. So I think you should take one question. Omwale should take one question so we don't stretch it too much. I know Governor will want to go on and on, but
no,
I think
no,
but I think we take one more question each. All right.
Okay.
Thank you,
take one more.
Thank you, Pastor, for saving me.
Yes, thank you, sir. But now that we know that you belong to us in the Politics 101 community group, we know that we have access to bring you back.
Oh yes, I'm a member of it.
Okay. So just a quick one. Obina, let me ask this, and you ask the last question.
Okay, great.
Speaking of what you have just said, competence. So what are your thoughts on the mass exodus of the middle class and young people, competent people to other countries? They desire a better life, economy. Should the government be doing something, proactively?
The question of Omole is, where they're going, who built it?
Good question.
That's the question they should ask themselves. It is people like them who said, no, we can't. I've lived in the UK for 10 years. Like I said, I've lived in the UK for 10 years, and I've had the privilege of going to the best schools. So I can say, okay, I did a program in Oxford, I'm an alumni, I did a program in Cambridge, and the people I met there are not better than us. In fact, Nigerians are one of the brightest people you can get all over the world. So we can't allow ourselves. What we need to do is not to run away. It's to take control of the situation here. That's why I said that we have employed conductors to drive the vehicle that we own. So what we need to do is to have people who are competent, who have the capacity to drive this vehicle from our local government, from everywhere and all that, and get it to work. There's more opportunity if we get it right here in Nigeria than any other place. So it is important. They are running away. It is not the best. You know, those who are remaining, what I'm asking is that let us sacrifice. All that is required is sacrifice to say, Mola is competent. I don't want to know where she comes from, whether it's from Kogi or this. Obinna can do it. Let's trust Obinna. And if we do, if Obinna is not doing the right thing, that's it. So if somebody says, for example, I want to be governor, let's go and check, what did he do yesterday? What is he doing today? We see. Let's ask questions. Like we normally ask questions. If you want to go into marriage, who is this person? What is his background? Let's ask questions. If he wants to be president, fine. Can he show the state or where he has governed before that we can compare so people can say, this is not this, this is this, this is this, this is. What did he do? How much debt did he leave the place? So he doesn't go to a state, leave debts all over the place, move to the next stage to create additional debts. We don't want that. We want to know in critical areas of development, education, health, supporting of critical businesses that will employ people, what did the person do? So we can measure it.
All right, sir. Pastor Obinna, do you have one last question or do we round up?
Yeah, I have one last question. So when one starts something, we learn in business and in career or in business strategy that you begin with the end in mind. And we think that many politicians keep running around that political circle till they die because they don't have any exit strategy. What is the exit? So if you're going to talk to us as new entrants, and you also know that older players are listening in, what is your advice on exiting the scene, the active scene of politics?
Well, the exit is very simple. Obinna, everything that has a beginning has an end. And two, like you said, if you come into a place with a purpose, with knowing fully well that you're going to move from point A to B, and you will be able to set up every journey have a destination. If you set up your destination, once you get to your destination, you will see it. So you know from day one, I'm elected governor here, I'm going to finish here. And like I said, you must have a second address. So when you finish, you go home. So you don't start making laws to say they'll continue to pay you for the rest of your life. When I tell people that since I left Anambra State, nobody have given me one kobo. They've not bought tire for me because I moved on with my life. I went there for a purpose, and I went there that this education thing, I must change it. This health thing, I must change it. I must change the people's perception of life. I must bring civility and order in governance. And once I've reached with that, I moved on with my life.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. Before I call on Aderoju that leads the group itself, I'd like to tell you just a feedback from a lot of the questions we're seeing and a lot of the comments that people are wondering how they can actually volunteer to support your vision. So I thought I would give you that feedback here, not necessarily to get your own your feedback to us, but
I want all of us to work together. I want all of us to work together because the society that is being abused today will take its revenge on all of us and our children. I don't want to start running out of here when I'm old or my children running out of here. We are Nigerians. We should be able, Nigerians have enough talent, enough capacity to make Nigeria a great country. God has made us a great country. We don't have anything that other nations have, where they have all sorts of issues. Ours is a peaceful place. All we need is good leadership.
Right.
And we will get it. Thank you very much, sir. We really appreciate this time with you. And we definitely will be calling on you more. We are really committed to being involved in the Politics 101 group. And we're hoping to keep learning from you.
And I'm a member.
Thank you very much, sir. Deroju, you got a new member. Please, can you just round off and give the vote of thanks?
Okay. His Excellency, Governor Peter Obi, we want to thank you very much.
Getting worried you're not speaking and saying, damn, Kathy, you're talking.
No, we have one governor in the house, so I have to allow my seniors to speak.
Deroju, before you speak, so that I can let His Excellency know who you are. So we have political group in the community groups. We have 3 groups, and they have leaders. But we have someone who's operationally responsible. We call the person a governor. So that is Deroju Omololu, our governor in Politics 101 community group. So Deroju, over to you.
Thank you very much, and thank you very much for your wise words and your words of counsel. I've taken back a lot. I've written a few notes here, and one thing within Politics 101 is for us to educate ourselves, learn, unlearn, and relearn. And one thing we do after every session like this is actually to take back the things you have said and to discuss it, not just to discuss it and talk about it, but to look at ways we can actually put them into action in the little ways that we can. Like you mentioned, whether it's on social media, how we can harness ourselves and make sure that we get actually involved beyond what we're saying. So we thank you very much for your time. We appreciate you. We appreciate the things that you have said. And I think the best we can do for you at this point is to carry what you have said and bring it to life. So that is what will also make part of our mission, to bring what you have said to life. And that way, I think that is how we'll make you proud. And thank you for joining our group as well.
Thank you.
We'll join want to thank the visionary, Pastor Koju Oyemade, for the community groups and for giving us this platform to be here. Without him, we know that we will not have this opportunity. So we thank him very much. We thank the board of the Covenant Community Group as well, Pastor Obina Mowale, our board member, for all they have done, for all the support, the speakers we have gotten, the encouragement, the words of counsel. And to everyone who has joined us today, a lot has been said. Economy is driven by faith. It says, go back and rebuild public wealth. It says, work with competent people. If you mean well, there are people who are going to support you. So remember that. Don't go into politics as a career. Prove yourself first. Do something with yourself before you get in. You need people to tell you when you're wrong. So always remember that. Education is very important. It says we need people who can make things work. So my question to everyone who has attended this session is, are you that person that can make things work? How do you become that person that can make things work? And I think the onus lies on us as individuals and as groups, wherever we find ourselves, to make sure that we are the people who make things work. So thank you all very much for attending this evening's session, and we look forward to seeing you again. Thank you very much. Mowale, over to you.
Yes, actually, it's over to our senior pastor, just to, give us maybe a closing prayer. And just before you come on, Pastor Koju, just everyone who's interested in joining the community groups, please follow us on any of our handles, Twitter, Facebook, IG. When the new semester comes on, you can apply and enroll. Pastor, over to you, sir.
All right, first of all, let me thank all those who participated. We had about 750 active people here. And I saw some of the names of the people. These are people that are active in society that joined us. I want to say thank you very much to every single person that participated. Like Omoali said, this next semester registration for our community groups should probably be in November, where you can, if you really want to participate in this and get the conversation going. And of course, to thank my dear friend, His Excellency, I will have asked you a question. And my question will have been on 2023, what exactly should we expect? But I will not put you on the spot. All right, thank you so much.
Thank you, Pastor.
Thank you so much for this. God bless you all. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Pastor. Thanks, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you so